Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the show that we bring to you every Saturday right here at YouTube. I sit around with these two jokers and we talk about various things involved in the comic book world. A lot of times I tell them last second, sometimes they have 5 minutes to know what's going on. But either way, we have a fun discussion. Today, we're going to do another discussion as opposed to looking at a list or anything along those lines. If you want to know how to see this show live, it's filmed every Thursday at twitch.tv/Comicstorian, our brand new podcast channel, where every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, you can find various shows brought to you by me and the team.
We're the team.
They're the team. Yeah, that's you guys. You can also get early access and unedited access to this over on our Patreon and on our YouTube memberships. So you can get access to all of the good stuff on both of those if you actually want to support us a little bit further. And today's sponsor is Dan Did Not Inform Me. So Dan, who's our sponsor?
Our t-shirts at designedbyhumans.com/eligible monster, where you can get shirts like I love the Illuminati or Crack-a-Cacoom or I'm not wearing the shirt for the show. They are all fantastic and you should check them out.
That explains why you didn't tell me about our sponsors today. Because we didn't have one. This episode is also brought to you by
GFUEL, GFUEL, GFUEL.
That works. Right now we have an extra code going around. You can get 30% off if you use the code COMICS. Yes, it's actually going on until the 24th. If you use the code COMICS at checkout, you'll get 30% off your GFUEL order. And Thawny just gifted us another 25 subs. I'm going to at least mention it because Thawny is actually on our Patreon tier where we should be mentioning it and thanking him every episode live. So Thawny, thank you for your support. This is going to go on the YouTube side for your support on our Twitch channel and on our YouTube side. He is at the highest tier of our Patreon.
We love the Illumathani.
But there is one more sponsor that Dan is forgetting to mention.
Jesus?
I'm waiting to see if Dan will figure out what I want him to do.
So it's not Jesus. No idea. Then I got nothing, guys. They don't tell me these things.
He has not informed me.
What did you do when we filmed the last thing? What would be a good sponsor, Dan?
I can't remember.
I'm telling you, it's Jesus. Jesus. Just say it. Jesus.
Doom! That's what I wanted you to do.
How was I supposed to know?
Get your shit together, Dan. Jesus.
Read my mind. The joke
Wait.
done
Hold
once.
on. Everyone pause. Okay, Dan, who else is sponsoring our show today?
Doom!
There we go.
Thank you, Doom.
We're trying out new gags on the whiteboard rants because after the last whiteboard rant, Dan's arms finally gave out. None of you saw that. But so
get back in the gym, bro.
I know. I really
I did
do.
20-minute. I did that 20-minute rant. I forget what it was about, but I did it
twice.
But that's it. They didn't know about the first
40
one.
minutes.
So a lot of people like to give Dan, Dan, what are you doing to Dan? Dan likes it because of the attention in the comments, but only when I do it for 15 minutes and he can hold it up without a problem.
Yeah.
Our last recording, I did the entire rant, and I'm like, I didn't feel good about that one. Let's redo it. So we ended up holding it a second time, and you weren't here. But his arms are literally shaking at the end.
No, I go home just in case I have to do it and I don't want to.
A lot of people don't get that if your arms are not in a resting position and you have to keep them still, it does hurt after a while.
That is true.
Especially when you also have to gauge of, all right, Benny's writing, so I got to slightly push against
Right,
it
yeah.
so that it's not like, oh, floppy. Don't worry, they got a pill for that.
Well, so anyway, guys, we decided to start doing a new gag where Dan's my co-host, but he's not really. He's like the co-host that just says like one or two words.
Except we realized that we recorded all of mine first, then he recorded it, and none of my responses choreographed with what he
they don't
did.
line up
All
properly.
of mine were like, no, it sucks. But Benny's going through, right, Dan? Doesn't that sound amazing? So I was like,
that sounds perfect to me.
I kind of
I thought you were going to use the one about Aquaman, though, still.
No.
The only one he had was, I like Aquaman. So the joke was he was going
Aquaman?
to insert it multiple times.
I should have just done that every
I like
single
that,
time.
actually. Yeah, that would have been
Just
really
from now on, we'll even do something Marvel. Just in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah.
Where's Aquaman?
So anyway, Powers of X. Dan, what's your thought? And then it just quick cuts over to you. But where's Aquaman?
And that'll be our new shirt. Dan going, where's Aquaman?
And you see him like in the background.
Yeah, he's in the ocean in the background.
So, okay, so today's topic today is going to be...
Today's topic today.
Do you...
Okay. Just a second.
The topic of today's topic is going to be...
Role models.
Role models.
It was a
Should
great
superheroes
film.
be role models? And we're going to get to that in a minute, but I wanted to ask Dan something. So we don't normally talk about the recent comic book releases, but I'm sure you read it. Aquaman's back.
Wait, this week?
Last week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it was definitely last week's
I haven't read
Justice
them
League.
this week either.
But the last page showed Aquaman come back.
Yes.
Where has he been? I thought he was like still another weird
No,
world.
he came back.
Yeah,
He
he's back now.
he was on the island of the gods. Then he met the giant whale that was essentially life.
Right, I
And
read up to
then
that part.
The
Yes,
windfish,
and then
the great
they
windfish from
send-
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, yeah.
They send Arthur goes back, and then they leave the island, and him and all of the other gods arrive at Amnesty Bay. Then there's a spooky lighthouse on one of the islands, and they keep telling spooky stories about it. And they're like, you know what would be a good idea? We should have all the gods live on the spooky island. And so they are back, but they are on Amnesty Island.
Where should our new base be? I think we should put it at the spooky
Well,
lighthouse.
it's great because the entire one, they're like, here's the ghost story of the person that lived there, and there was a giant kraken, and they were all doomed. We should live there.
Yeah,
I like
So
that.
basically, what you're saying is I didn't actually miss that much
Not really.
from because I got to the whale life. Oh, you need to be alive, but
I
you're
mean,
not.
Jackson Hyde showed up, and it looks a lot different than the previous Jackson Hyde that I remember. But he is there working with Aquaman. However, at the end of Justice League, that does not feel like
No.
anything related to what's happening in
because he's
Aquaman.
totally just back to normal now. He's just Aquaman again.
Yeah. So
Okay, so I'm not crazy because I got to that part.
Yeah, we didn't say that.
Oh, all right, whatever.
role models.
Yeah,
I like that movie.
that's a pretty
It's a
good movie.
great
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. All right, so thanks for joining us for today's Comics Experiment.
Blow up, everybody.
Glorp.
If you want to know what Glorp is, go check out our Tales of Earth channel, where these two do conspiracies with Gary. I was on it, but we discovered that my energy does not work.
It's a little too much and a little too many tangents where we're talking about a conspiracy and Benny goes, look at this music video I just looked up. I'm not kidding, for the record. All right, so role models.
I thought it was funny.
Are we, yeah, I was going to say, we've said role models like 4 times.
Yeah.
Are we actually going to
I'm
talk
trying to
He's the
lead
one that
you
keeps
into
saying it.
That's because I'm trying to lead
So
you.
Dan, Dandy.
Bye, everybody.
This is such
All right, so role models. I want to kick us off with like the most obvious of role model situations. If you were to become a Robin,
Something tragic has happened in my backstory.
My first concern would be,
Are my parents
does he have the suit and needs new fuel?
That's a good
Because I'm
point.
concerned right now.
That's a good point.
no, so like okay, so every Robin looks to Batman as a role model, except Jason Todd because he let him die, but that's understandable.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I mean, no. He did up to that point, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once
It
he
wasn't
died,
too
though,
But then after that, he didn't look to anybody, because he's dead.
until he came back,
Until he came back.
and then oddly enough, he decided to take the Joker's moniker.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Well, yeah, it's his new role model.
Yeah.
The guy that killed him.
The guy that killed him. Yeah.
I mean, that's just how life works.
So, do you think that Robin should be looking at? Do you think that Batman should ever get a Robin? Let's start with that.
I think it depends on the Robin because Dick Grayson, no, I don't think he was great of a role model. Damian Wayne, yes, I think he was a better role model because it's the paths of which they went from I'm an innocent circus acrobat. I'm an assassin that's been trained to kill people by the time I was the age of 6. It's one of those ones where it's like, comparatively speaking, I feel like going from circus to Batman is a little bit of a backtrack, but assassin to Batman is a little bit of a, okay, this is a good role model to learn that I can't just kill everyone.
Andy, counterpoint.
I didn't know we were doing it this way.
Not either.
I didn't either until about 2 seconds ago, and I thought it'd be hilarious to
Okay.
put you in that position. No, we're not. You can do your own.
No, I wanted the counterpoint. I think Batman's a terrible role model. Nobody should look up to him, honestly.
It's also fair.
He definitely. I agree 100% with that one. Even
I'll say he's a man who dealt with tragedy in his past by putting on a bat suit and punching people.
as throwing his money at everything.
Yeah,
It's
like-
literally what he does.
yeah.
Just throws money at the problem.
Now, granted, he does good things comparatively.
Right.
But
That, and he also goes, you just went through a tragedy as well.
Here's a
I'm
rubber
going to
cast.
train you. Are you okay with
he just carries
tights?
one around.
The reason I wanted to ask this right now, have you been watching Titan season 2?
No.
So Dan can catch you up real quick what happened there.
Go.
Nothing.
Okay.
So anyway, we've got Batman, we've got Dick Grayson.
Yes.
The whole argument with that was that Batman had trained Dick Grayson to be a weapon, and that's why he was mad at him in the first season, and that was the whole argument they were having. You trained me to be a weapon, I don't know how to stop this. That was kind of what his argument was.
Okay.
And then he said that the Batman should never train kids. He should never be doing this. Batman took on Jason Todd. So now in our current season, Jason Todd is basically Damian. It's basically what he is.
Okay.
And we're running on the same thing. Should Batman have trained him? Now, for the sake of the TV show, it's very kind of funny, but it's like, Dick, could you take care of Jason for me? I'm trying to do that weird mix of like English accent he's got going.
They're having a meeting, and he's like, okay, I'll give you all the money you need on one condition. And that condition was you take Jason Todd off my hands.
I mean, that's fairly good. I mean, I wouldn't
This
want
is
to do
immediately
it.
following Jason Todd trying to ride a motorcycle down the Wayne Manor stairs.
What's the problem here? I mean, you got a giant ass mansion. Where else are you gonna ride your motorcycle?
This is true.
Yeah.
I forget the excuse he said. He was like trying to tactically train for it in case that ever
Yeah.
happened or
You
something.
never know when you're gonna need to ride a bat cycle through a mansion.
Let's be honest, in DC,
It happens
you
more
really
than you
don't
think.
know when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to need to...
Why you guys all give me a hard time? We did it last week.
Guys, we've been training for this. Let's go.
So
There's going to be one day where they're going down, they're like, we don't know what to do. Hold my beer.
I've been training for this.
Why are they drinking beer while fighting crime?
I mean, it's Jason Todd.
Of anybody, I could see him drinking beer.
It
well.
would be
Purse
the one.
snatcher, do a shot.
It's a drinking game.
Yeah, it's a drinking
I
game.
could-
What's the crime? Murder? Oh, crap.
I could 100% see him and Roy doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's in the comic.
Like I could see Roy having the bottle, and, you know.
Well,
No,
Roy would be
that's-
No, I feel like
Roy
because
would be
Roy
like
was the
bank robbery.
alcoholic,
right, which is why I see Roy having the bottles. My
I
point.
know, but
Roy
I
would be
feel like
like,
Jason Todd's a good enough friend that he wouldn't.
Roy would just leave it. Bank heist. Do some drugs.
Are you going all the way back to Snowbirds Don't Fly?
yeah.
They fixed that. It's just alcoholism.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, there
He's
you
not.
go.
He's not on the heroin, or was it cocaine?
I think it was heroin.
I think
Heroin. It was
heroin.
whatever one the needle is.
I'm pretty sure it was
That
heroin.
is heroin.
That was the joke.
That was heroin.
Wasn't a very good joke.
Well, thank you, Andy, for calling me out. Anyway,
What are we talking about again?
I don't remember.
this is one of those
Yeah,
episodes.
this is
Sidekicks. I was
Okay,
catching up on what he did in Titans.
Oh,
Okay.
How
all
Batman
right.
is it basically said, "I'm training Jason, but now I'm not."
Sure.
You do it.
I mean,
However,
that
in
makes
that
sense to me.
regard,
I mean, that's
Dick
realistically
is a better role model.
That's realistically what happened in the comic book, though. I mean, granted, Batman died, but Dick took over as Batman for Robin, and
That was
honestly,
Damian Wayne Robin, right?
Yeah, Damian Wayne Robin, and he was honestly a better role model for him than Batman was.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Dick Grayson Damian Wayne relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Much better than with his dad.
Yeah, honestly, he was a better role model for him because the difference between Dick and Bruce is that Bruce takes the tragedy and turns it into I'm going to put on a bat suit and punch people in the face.
Right.
Dick Grayson took the tragedy and basically didn't let it own him.
No.
Right.
No. He went
You
further
know,
with it.
Yeah, he went further with it, and he is more about helping people and
Right.
and I mean, yes, he does punch people in the face along the way, but he is more about the helping people, working with others, and that sort of thing. So I would say that honestly,
See-
Dick Grayson would be a better role model.
And it's actually funny because I feel like Batman isn't the best role model, but Dick Grayson is a better role model because he was.
Well, it was
the
almost like
sidekick
that he
to
learned
Batman.
how he
Exactly.
shouldn't act as
Exactly.
an adult.
So
yeah.
it's kind of funny how the bad role model actually, in a way, created a good role model.
good role
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of what they're doing with the Titans show.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he's
And I
like,
mean-
where like Bruce is pretty much like, Dick, you say I did it wrong.
Yeah. So
Here's
you
Jason.
do it right.
You do
well,
it
I
right.
mean, realistically, we're saying that Jason's like the Damian Wayne in the Titan universe, but
Yes.
Jason was
He is.
kind of like Damian when he was around. He was
Yeah.
much more like leaning towards like really hurting people and killing them and yada yada.
Well, and they're keeping to that in the show,
Yeah.
but they're throwing in like the Damien plot points. basically, is what they're
Yeah.
doing with him going to Dick Grayson and things like that. Because if I remember correctly, Jason never...
Not realistically.
He never really
no,
even met Dick.
Because no, he did meet Dick, but I don't think he ever did really like developed a relationship. Because at this point, Dick had become like his own hero.
Yeah,
he
well,
was
because
really
I remember on a
distant
recent
things.
issue they had the whole Jason and Dick Grayson were together, and it was kind of like what their relationship is, because they're those weird brothers. It was almost like that situation where like say your parents were to have a kid now, you wouldn't really get to know your brother
Right.
/ sister because
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like they met each other, but they weren't like buddy or anything.
Right.
Like
They were more cousins.
yeah,
Kinda,
I'd say like in
yeah,
that
probably,
aspect.
yeah.
Which is why they seem to be changing around on this
Well,
because
sorry, bat cousins.
they're putting Jason into that role, and thanks to the latest leak where we actually got to see the Nightwing costume.
I did not see
I didn't
that.
see that.
No,
either.
you can if you want to see the spoiler, it's out. We all knew it was coming based on the way the show set
We
up. but-
all knew it was coming.
But they leaked the costume. I'll pull it up so you can see it.
Oh, I don't wanna
But
see
based on that, it looks
I do.
looks like we're going 100% in the direction of Damian.
I'm curious what color they're going to do.
Red or blue
Yeah.
You want me to, well, I don't know why I would tell you.
for the symbol.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ben can't type.
Nope.
I'm having
Well, not
real
when it's
severe-
relevant. When it's something
Yeah, it's
completely
true, yeah.
different.
Right, when
He's
I'm
like,
goofing around.
When he's not paying attention to us.
Natalie had it yesterday. It was all over Twitter. None of these are it.
No, those are all fan made. You know what they should do? They should go like the straight up like 70s ones where he had like the popped collar and it was like gold and blue.
I prefer the fringe.
Oh,
that he used to
yeah.
Well, while I'm looking for
yeah,
that,
yeah.
so the situation, Batman's not really a good role model, and I think Dick Grayson's proving that.
Yes.
In the
Yeah.
DC universe, they like to look to the Justice League as the role models of the DC universe.
Sure.
And we all goof around and joke around. And I'm going somewhere with this whole discussion. Don't
I
worry,
doubt
guys.
that seriously, but okay.
I have an endpoint. I'm just trying to get there.
I don't doubt it, but I'm very curious which direction. 'Cause you've got a weird thought process.
No. So out of these superheroes, okay, because everyone likes to go, oh, follow the examples of Superman. I live my life by Superman. He's full of hope.
Okay.
No one ever really says I follow my life by Batman unless they have billions of dollars and
Okay.
and go with that. But the question I have then, out of the Justice League, which of them would you look to be role models? Because in the boys, all of the superheroes are considered role models.
Yes.
Even though they 100% should not
Well,
be.
that honestly,
Yeah.
that's the same as like athletes and celebrities
Right.
and yada yada yada.
Never
like,
meet your hero.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, none of those people should be
There it
role
is.
models.
That's the thing.
Okay. That's what I thought.
They're going with 90s classic.
So when we're talking role models, are we talking if it was our life, who would be a role model?
Or we are in the DC
are we
universe?
in the because
You're in the DC universe, and
Okay.
you are trying to figure out if you should or should not pick a role. You have to pick a role model.
Okay.
Someone you want to live up to.
So it's DC Universe Online.
Okay.
Pick your mentor.
Okay, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, if let's say you were talking about Wonder Woman, would you count Amazonia? Because in terms of being an Amazon, she's a great role model. In terms of being like compared to normal life,
You're a normal
maybe
person.
not the best.
You're
because
Dan.
She does tend
You
to.
are Dan, but you're growing up in the DC
More
universe,
into the kill everything kind of.
and you're
Exactly.
12, so you got to pick a superhero that you want to be your role model.
Okay.
Which poster going on your wall?
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
There you go.
I like that.
All right, I gotta have a little bit of a thinking on this.
Do you have one you could throw out there?
I mean, realistically, the best role model on the Justice League is Superman.
Okay, he's dead. So who's next?
Well, you could still live your life by the way he lived.
He's super died.
Honestly, none of them are good role models. Batman lives his life dedicated to instilling fear in his enemies. Wonder Woman lives her life dedicated to war is right, which I do lean into, but that's fine. I'm just saying it as a DC Comics character.
Green Lantern
Give me
is-
another one.
Green
Green
Lantern-
Lantern's an asshole.
Well, that's the thing is it depends on which, because I think honestly,
Jon
John
Stewart?
Stewart could
Yeah.
be a good role model.
I could see that.
Of all of the
about
Green
duty
Lanterns,
and
exactly.
and, you know,
He's much more responsible, level-headed.
Yeah.
Thinks through things. Is not very rash like Guy
Yeah,
Gardner
yeah, he
who
does,
lets
yeah,
his
and
emotions
he's-
take control.
And he hasn't had a sidekick that he's ruined.
exactly. we don't have proof that he
Because I was kind of hoping one of you guys would be like The Flash, and I'm like, have you seen what happened to all of his sidekicks?
yeah, I was gonna
They
say
all
that
die.
the Flash is all about just jumping to it without thinking, and it'll fix itself out with Speed Force bullshit. Green Arrow, much like the Flash, or much like Batman.
His did heroin.
That's what I'm saying. Aquaman constantly runs from his own responsibilities.
Yep. He doesn't want to take that role of being a king.
Yeah. Let's see who else is on the Justice League.
Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner.
He was on there briefly.
He's a little too full of himself. No,
that's Hal Jordan.
Yeah, that is Hal Jordan.
That's Hal Jordan.
he's a little too much of I am Jesus. Therefore, I am amazing because he becomes Jesus.
He does
in
kind of
case you
become
weren't
Space
aware.
Jesus. You're right. Yeah. I mean, realistically, probably the best role models on the Justice League would be Jon Stewart.
Yep.
And Superman. Yeah.
And Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman in the comics, depending on the comic, very heavily leans into we should just stab them.
See,
don't follow the Injustice Wonder Woman.
That's what I'm saying. Injustice Wonder Woman, Kingdom Come, if they're not going to fall in line with the Justice League, we're going to kill them. If they want a war, I'll give them a war.
She's a very militaristic.
Yes, very militaristic.
Which, if you were in the military, great role model.
Right.
Yeah, which, I mean, honestly, realistically,
you're a civilian,
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I would follow her, but
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Martian Manhunter?
I feel like he's too unrelatable to be a role model. Because I
could see
think
that
that
too-
is one of
too
the
alien.
things you do. Because it's like Superman like feels more human. He does
Even if he
human
is-
things.
yeah.
Whereas and like Jon Stewart had a job as an architect or in the Marines, depending on which one you're talking about. Whereas Martian Manhunter is a Martian telepath that literally does not have a normal life for you to be able to look up and use as a role model, because you would never go, I'm in a situation that Martian Manhunter would be in, because those don't exist for normal humans.
What are you talking about? I'm from Mars.
And you're not a normal human.
I mean, realistically, honestly, don't think you should look to many people as role models. My personal opinion about actual life. No.
Right. Oh, and I agree with you on
We're
that
getting
to an
real-
extent.
real-
I have
into it
another
now.
one.
What's
Okay,
that?
go ahead.
Black Lightning.
He'd be good.
I
He's
feel
always
like-
portrayed as a very...
Because he honestly is more of a role model that is also a superhero, as opposed to all the others who are superheroes.
And on the
that
TV
also
show,
do
he's the
this other
principal.
stuff.
So yeah, you
Exactly.
definitely want to look up to him.
Yeah.
He is in the TV show. He's a principal. I don't know if you've seen the show.
I've seen the show.
Oh, the show's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, realistically, what it boils down to is you should take the idea, like as an actual person in the real world reading comics, right? You know, like you probably shouldn't take the idea of, well, if something bad happens in my past, I'll dress up like a bat and punch people in the face. Realistically. However, you could take the idea of always trying to do the right thing and that sort of thing. You know, I mean, because everybody makes mistakes, which is basically how comics are now. Everybody's very much human. They make mistakes. Things happen. The way comics work, it's the same mistake over and over and over again, much like The Flash. I'm sure time travel will work this time, guys.
You're banned from doing time travel. Oh, no, not.
See you stop me. No, but
They're
the
doing it
idea
again.
of, you know, never,
does not surprise me.
you know, never let the enemy win. Never let bad people injustice win. Like, always try to stand up for what you think is right. You know, I mean, yeah, these are all like traits that people should emulate.
See, I feel, because we did mention The Boys, I feel like the female superhero, I want to say her name was
Starlight.
Starlight.
Yeah.
I feel she is a great role model.
Yes.
Because
been, yeah.
She made mistakes, but she always tried to do what she thought was right.
She stands up for herself.
Yeah.
She stands up for what she believes is right, despite other people going, no, you can't do that. You have to say this exact thing, regardless of if you believe in it or not. So I would say that would be a good role model, because it's the role model of use what you've got to still help people.
So I got two more.
Okay.
And the second one is what the point of this entire conversation.
Oh, it should be good.
Okay. The first one is, would you consider Deadpool, with the amount of people that actually try to emulate?
He's a terrible role model.
But think of how many kids are like,
Yeah,
Deadpool.
that's an awful idea. It's like the people who are like, well, Harley's a strong role model for women. Really?
That is the point of the discussion.
She was in an abusive relationship for 15 years.
I don't know why I'm pointing at you.
I don't know. It happens every episode now. Ben's like, listen, I have a really strong point.
That what you just said is the point of this discussion.
Yeah, okay.
Because Harley is being constantly reinvented.
Yep.
Because she has become a strong female role model.
Single female lawyer.
That would be hilarious if that's her.
I would watch that.
I'm hopeful that's the She-Hulk show.
Oh, yes.
And I hope that's the theme song. I just hope it's you, Dan.
So the reason
She-Hulk lawyer.
Oh, beautiful. The reason I wanted to bring all this up is Batman, people like to be like, I'd love to be a Robin. But when you think about it, you
No,
don't
I
want-
wouldn't.
That's what I mean. Once you think about it, you don't want to be a Robin. You know, people would always be like, I want to be Kid Flash. But when you think about it, they've all died. So you don't.
Right. See, I
Not
feel like
all of them.
Name one that hasn't.
Wait, are we
Fair
talking
enough.
died and didn't come back?
No, just died in general because they all come back.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then they've all died. Yeah. I thought you meant like died and stayed dead.
I think Impulse is the only one that's currently still. No, he's in Young Justice.
I was gonna say he's in Young Justice. Yeah.
So the point I'm making though is like Superman, we all kind of say, oh, he's be full of help, but he's also very disconnected from humanity. But with the recent changes that have been going on with Harley Quinn in the comic book and in the movies and in everything, they've shifted away from Harley Quinn as this woman in an abusive relationship with the Joker to she is a very independent woman. She's currently dating Poison Ivy.
Right.
She is a role model for kids. And I mentioned
married.
Huh?
I think they're married.
I think they did get married finally.
I think they got married, yeah.
But regardless of that, or they did get, I think they got married in Injustice, but I don't think they're married in the main timeline. I do know they're married in some timeline somewhere.
I'm sure
knows? It's the multiverse.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is, and the reason I brought up Deadpool first, is Harley and Deadpool are both characters that men and women are both dressing up as.
Well, yeah, but that's the difference. Dressing up as is different than.
But
looking
kids are
as
looking
a role
to them
model.
both as potential role models. Now, Deadpool, I think, is a little more easily going. If you're letting your kid look up to Deadpool,
You're just a bad parent.
yeah. But Harley is trying to be rebranded as a role model.
Yes. She's on like the the Disney Girls or not
superhero girls.
DC Girl, superhero
Yeah.
girls, whatever it is.
And if you don't know what
It's like
superhero
her,
girls
Wonder
is,
Woman, Batgirl.
Superhero Girl. I'm going to see what the current roster is on that one right now. Superhero Girls is a television show that many of you watching this and listening to this podcast don't know exists because it is 100% not targeted at any of us. It is a show for young women to give them role models and stuff like that, which is what leads to my discussion today. Would you consider these people role models? But Harley Quinn, I think, is the best example. Because if any girl, oh, I love Harley Quinn, I want to be Harley Quinn, she's on the Superhero Girls, then actually looks into Harley Quinn's history.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the greatest role model to have out there.
A little bit of Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
I feel it's a situation of it depends on what aspects of the character you consider as a role model, because like all of these, we're considering it as just the character as a
like
whole.
As a whole,
exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas another way to look at it is, yes, she was in an abusive relationship, but she's a role model because of the fact that she stood up for herself, got out of that situation, took control of her life and her own happiness, and that's something that you look at as. Yeah, that's a great role model.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
like
something,
an inner strength, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, rose
so
up.
it's a
The
thing
roster of role
Okay.
models. Just throw it out there real quick, then you can keep going, okay? But just so you know who we're talking about.
That thought.
It's Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Supergirl, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Katana, and Bumblebee.
Okay, Poison Ivy's evil. Straight up.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Not always.
That's true.
Because she's one of those ones where a lot of the time it's not evil for the sake of evil. It's evil for the sake of I'm part of the green.
Sure,
You're
yeah,
damaging
yeah.
the forest. Therefore, I'm standing up for the forest and like doing stuff like that. So
I mean, realistically, and then sorry, I know I told you to hold your thought. Now I'm trying to talk again. But realistically, I guess it depends on your own outlook at life.
yeah.
Because maybe you're looking at Harley Quinn because of what she's overcome.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
this will
yeah.
help me get through what I'm
I'll say
overcoming.
realistically, it's your own outlook on life that really borders on like you might consider somebody a role model and be like, why is that a role model for you?
Right.
Only because it doesn't fit to what I need for a role model. So yeah.
Because like in the terms of like specific parts of characters, Deadpool could be a great role model. The fact that
Overcame cancer.
the fact of
he's fighting it all.
one of the
Found his
best
stripper
issues.
girlfriend.
No, vampire wife.
Oh my god! Guys.
I'm talking movie. Sorry. Keep going.
But like, for example, the issue where he helps a girl step down from the ledge, saves her from suicide, and is a great role model there.
That issue is still used as an example for how to talk people out of like a suicidal situation.
It's fantastic. Another situation Deadpool's a part of that would be a great role model: the way he treats Ellie, and being a father of recognizing when you can't be there because you are aware of who you are as a person and that you do need to work on yourself before being a role model.
I like how this discussion turned out because you're like, Andy's like, no. And you're like, well, this is how it could work. This has turned into a much better conversation than I thought.
Because, I mean, that's the thing is a lot of people sometimes look at it as the black and white.
Right, yeah.
It's the entire character. It's not the character. But if you do look at it as the certain parts of characters, because, I mean, pretty much every single superhero has that aspect. Aquaman teaches you how to, he's a good role model. Maybe not in the direct way, but seeing how someone else reacts to different worlds. A good example, if you have divorced parents.
True.
You have a life that it belongs in two different worlds. Exactly. And you have to try and balance that. And Aquaman could be a good example there. Batman could be
real
a
quick
good
on the
example.
Aquaman thing, you just made me think of a Disney Channel movie.
Right.
My parents are divorced, and one is the king, and the other lives in Bronx.
So what are you going to do? I'm going to go live in a lighthouse. Why? Because Aquaman is my role model. I don't think you're taking the right aspects from that character. No.
But Batman could be a role model in the sense of he took a tragedy and turned it into a strength.
Yeah.
Like, maybe don't do it in the sense
Maybe
of
don't
going
beat
out,
people up.
beat
Yeah.
people up.
I mean,
But
honestly,
you could use something, a bad experience you had, to fuel yourself to progress in a more positive manner.
I like the beat up people aspect.
Dan, I'm changing my answer.
Dan has converted you?
You have convinced me, Dan.
Wow.
Yes, they're all good role
I
models.
like how I opened this up with a joke that it was going to be a debate.
Right.
And it turned into like a little...
Like an actual debate.
So the point out... So this comes to the next part of my question then.
Oh, God,
So we're...
there's a part 2.
I wasn't prepped for this.
I wasn't prepped for a
Where
part
are my
2.
notes?
So Dan's kind of converted me too. I think we can agree that you can look to a certain person as a role model if you look for the right aspects.
Yes.
Can you do that with a character, using Harley Quinn as the example again,
Okay.
where 2 to 3 years ago, she was in the abusive relationship with the Joker, running around with him, literally in the Suicide Squad movie, with the classic Harley Quinn appearance and attitude and things like that, to now the next movie's being touted as I hate clowns. Something happened between these movies, and we're probably
Right.
not going to find out what it is.
Yeah.
Because now Harley in the movies, they're trying to portray as a strong female hero that you can follow.
I can't hear you say that without going single female lawyer.
Me too. That's why I like
But what I'm saying is, like, what if that is the situation? Like, how do you look at? Do you think you can make a 2-year shift from one movie to the other and it's valid?
I think it's going to entirely depend on the movie itself, obviously. I think if you were to choose just the character from the Suicide Squad movie, I would not consider that a perfect role model because of the sense of you don't see the progression that we see.
True, yeah.
You don't know all the history that people who read the comics know. Like, because in that movie, I mean, the only scene you see with her and the Joker is, if I remember right, he's like, I love you, and then shoves her off a cliff or something like
shoves
that.
her off the cliff. She helps him with the Batmobile car chase.
Yeah, at the
She's in the
beginning,
Lambo where he goes into the water with her.
Right.
Then he's chasing her for the movie, which
Yeah.
And then he frees her at the end.
and he frees her at the end.
Yeah. Spoiler
And
alert.
they do
For the movie you're never gonna watch.
because we're having this debate. In the defense of that movie, they did tone down the abusiveness and made it more like he was actually trying to go get her,
Right.
as opposed to the classic Harley Quinn attitude where it's like Joker doesn't care about her.
Yeah.
She just happens to be there.
Yeah.
She's a tool for him,
Yes.
essentially.
I do believe the Suicide Squad did convert it a little bit more to try and make it more like a Bonnie and Clyde relationship.
That seemed what it
they
was
did
like,
a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think just from the Suicide Squad movie that she really did anything that I would consider a role model action.
No, the whole movie is her basically trying to find the Joker and just using the Suicide Squad as a way to do this.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's as her as a role model will depend on her movie and Suicide Squad 2. She could, for all we know, she could turn into an amazing role model depending on what they do with the character of because she is getting a solo movie, right?
That's the one we're talking about.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
called.
It's technically the Birds of Prey movie. But
Okay.
yeah.
But
They basically
so-
swapped out Batgirl for her.
Actually, if that is the case, that is a fantastic movie that would create a role model situation because you could go, well, if you were in a poor situation in life, finding friends that share interests with you and changing yourself to be a better person.
Well, I was
as a
gonna say
whole.
that was what I was gonna say because, put it in real life perspective, right? You see a woman who is like into drugs, is in an abusive relationship, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is terrible. I don't want my children knowing that." But then 2 years go by, she's gotten out of the relationship. She cleaned up her life. She, what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
she found the strength. She rose above it.
Exactly.
Then, but okay, yes, that is a good role model because then you're like, well, she was in this horrible situation, but managed to pull herself out. So,
Exactly.
I mean, that's the kind of strength you
It's
want.
a role model of you can be in a bad situation, but you can still get better.
Right.
Like you can be in a
You don't have to
horrible,
wallow in the
exactly. Like just
destruction that
because
you've
you're
created.
having a horrible life now does not mean that's permanent for your life. You do have the capacity to change, to be better, to separate yourself from situations that maybe in the past you didn't feel you could, but like seeing Harley break away from a very abusive relationship with the Joker could be a fantastic way to show. I mean, because we always talk about it as that's probably one of the worst relationships possible.
Yeah.
Which honestly,
comics, yeah, probably.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it really
which
does.
I've always found humorous how much of a pedestal everyone's always put Joker or Harley. It's like, you may like the idea, but when you think about it, this should not be on the pedestal it's on.
Exactly. But like, because of how bad that is, it's a great role model to show you can be in the worst of the worst, but still come out a better person.
True.
So.
Yeah, this went much better than I thought it was going to go. I was like, this could go horrible. So yeah, it's an interesting debate, I think, overall, because a lot of kids do look up to superheroes. I mean, I would like to think that normally, once you start kind of going into your teenage years, you look for more realistic role models. Some people probably still look up to superheroes. I'm not.
Well, I mean, realistically, it's just like with anything else. Like you can look at an actor or celebrity or or sports star or whatever,
right?
And as you grow up, like as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, he's my favorite football player, I want to live my life just like him. And as you grow up, you're like, oh, he's actually human. Like, yes, he's made mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, because I would look at this more as like younger kids who will look to Harley and be like, oh, she looks like a clown and she's so awesome and I love her and she's great.
Smash that person with a hammer. Can I get 2 hyenas, Dad?
When you get older, son.
Okay.
Nice. So to kind of wrap this up, real quick, I wanted to mention, because I know it's going to be comments in the bottom of this and it's going to be related, but some people were like, wasn't there some scenes that were cut out of Suicide Squad that showed more of the abusive relationship? We're just referencing the ones.
There was, yeah. Correct, yeah.
I'm sure there is, but let's be honest, not everyone saw that.
Well, not even that. I'm going to say
Myself
we're more referencing just the movie that exists.
Yeah.
Not deleted scenes or what was taken out or what you can find in the extra editions. None of that
We're
stuff.
talking about the movie theater version of the movie.
The Snyder Cut.
That's nice.
I want the Snyder Cut of Shazam.
I'd watch that.
I want the Snyder
darkest
cut of
Shazam
the
ever.
Avengers Endgame.
Are you all right over there?
No, something went down my throat. Did I eat a bug? So anyway, I think to end our discussion on this, I think it'd be kind of fun if we mentioned some of the more popular Marvel superheroes.
Okay.
Spider-Man, would you take him as the role model?
Yes.
Yeah, I would actually say yeah.
Honestly, Spider-Man is a good role model in the sense of even when people are against you, even when you're broken down, beaten up,
try to do the right thing.
Exactly. You can still do the right thing. You can still stand up for people.
Yeah.
You can do what you are capable of without needing recognition and thanks and that kind of stuff.
X-Men.
Despite how society views you or how people see you, try to do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean that exactly. That's the X-Men is
especially if you can shoot lasers in your eyes.
The X-Men is actually a great
Or have claws.
example.
yeah, honestly.
X-Men is a great example from the Marvel universe of taking aspects of character or of characters to focus on and not other aspects, because there is the standing up for who you are, even if you are different, trying to do the right thing. Once again, even if people are against you. But maybe not go to the militaristic side of we're just killing everyone who is against us.
Well, that's the
too
darker
far.
aspect of that.
Exactly.
That's the other side of that coin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like that's the, you look for certain aspects, because we'll use Scott Summers as a great example.
Well,
He
also the
doesn't-
other side of that
he's not
is
always
don't
great.
pick on the kid who's different, because they might be able to shoot lasers out of their eyes.
Actually, that is a great
I like
example.
how you keep going to shoot lasers out of your eyes.
Maybe not shoot lasers out of your eyes, but you don't know what someone might be going through,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't
Like lasers.
judge them of just one single aspect of
Out of their
you're a
eyes.
mutant, therefore I'm against you.
Right.
It's more of a you're someone different. I shouldn't be against you and harassing you and all of this just because you're different from me. That doesn't change that we are both living a life.
Yeah.
Venom. Now, actually, I go
Which
with Venom.
Venom?
Yeah, I was just say
Lethal
which Venom?
Protector.
So Agent Venom.
No. Lethal Protector's before Agent Venom.
When Eddie Brock
Agent
was
Venom
like,
is
I wanna
100% a
help
role
people.
model,
Yeah,
in my
no,
opinion.
But I also want to cut people's heads off.
That's Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
Hence the name Lethal
Yeah.
Protector.
That's a toughie. Because it's like, well, you're no longer doing bad
No,
things,
I don't
but you're
think it
still
is.
kind of doing bad
You're
things.
sucking brains out
I
still.
think-
But
I think-
heroically.
See, and that's why
That's like the
I would
Punisher.
consider
Yeah, that's
him
not-
being not a good role model, because that that implies of you can be as violent as possible as long as you're doing the right thing. That's not a good message to send. Like that. That is not a good.
Like
message.
I said, that's the Punisher. Like,
yes.
But Agent Venom,
he's only killing bad people.
Exactly. But Agent Venom's a good one where it's like you can be a hero even if people once again look at you with the prejudice of, well, Venom was eating brains and stuff, but he's like, no, I'm saving you.
So to bring the whole discussion back to our previous talk, let's start to wind down this whole thing.
Okay.
Would you consider Venom a role model when he first became Agent Venom?
Yes.
Because that transition was like what, like a 2 month period? Where he was
Because-
like, Venom gone, anti-Venom. Who the hell knows what happened to the symbiote? Agent Venom.
I'd say yes because it's similar to the Harley Quinn. You can be a horrible person sometimes, and when you learn it, you can change. You can change and be a good person, even if you could be a bully your entire life, but you still have the capacity to change and be a good person.
I feel like this episode has just become Dan's PSAs.
It does seem that way. I look at Agent Venom from a different way, different viewpoint, I suppose. I look at it from more having been in the military, having friends who have lost limbs and things like that. To me, Venom is the story of even though you have given enough for your country or something for your country, your life isn't over because of it. And you can still do good afterwards.
That's
He lost both of his legs in
Right.
Iraq. That wasn't the end of his life. He still wanted to serve. He still wanted to do the right thing. And that's how I saw
These are
Agent
very
Venom.
different opinions based on our life experiences.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
and
how I
it's
saw
great
Agent
because he does have two role model aspects to the character, and I think that's another thing that applies to all of this is we're looking at it from the aspect of how our lives have played out and how things have caused us to think different ways. And for all we know, people are looking at these characters thinking other things that are a good role model that we just simply don't think about.
Right. And so that's actually, I made a video long before you came into the company. I think it was like a year and a half ago now.
No, it was more
But
than
pretty
that.
much I made like when they killed Agent Venom, I made a video why Agent Venom was the hero that I looked up to. You know, if I had to pick a superhero. It was very much that because no matter what happened to Flash, it was like you would be like he lost his legs and then he couldn't get a job and then he was getting it was always
alcoholism
It was always I can overcome this and move on and keep doing it. And I even said in the video, I'm like, I know he's a comic book character, I know he's not real, but it's a good message to take away from this.
Yeah.
Because you can always overcome it. And I ended it with, and maybe someday I'll get a symbiote and become Agent Venom.
That'd be awesome. I have the issue somewhere. It might be back with our parents in North Carolina where he actually loses his limbs.
Yeah, I have that too, actually.
Yeah.
It's in the closet over there. But, and because I even said in the video, I'm like, yeah, I haven't lost my legs or anything crazy like that.
Sure,
I've known people who have.
Right.
But I was told by the doctors that I'd be couch-bound and not able to do anything. And so it's always like, you can overcome these things.
Sure.
Regardless
He calls
of what you
them
think
up and is like, you lied to me. I now ride bikes for 500 miles.
Suck it, bitch. And they're like, who is this?
And why do they keep calling every week?
He just goes, Agent Venom.
Agent Venom. But yeah, and so that's what I wanted to bring the whole discussion back around. Because I wanted to bring up the Harley Quinn and I wanted to mention Venom because he is someone that I looked up to as the Agent Venom just because of the way he was written. I know he's a fictional character, but it's really no different than looking up to any character. Well, he got over through this.
Right.
I mean, it's funny. I always tell the jokes, but it's serious. When I first got in the military and I didn't quite know how I had gone in.
None of us did.
It was drug haze. Didn't quite know. He's right. Anyway, when I got in...
Wait, Ben's in the army? wait. They're giving Ben a gun?
Is that what you said when you first found out?
Probably. It was a long time ago, but it does sound like me.
But it was funny because when I got in there, and I was still trying to find myself. I didn't know who I was. I had gone through a lot at that point. I nothing crazy, but I was enough that I was your usual kid. I just didn't know what I was doing and didn't know how I got there. And I would hum the Metal Gear Solid theme to myself because I was like, if Solid Snake can get through this, that's exactly what I would do in
They're
basic.
like, Potter, what the hell are you doing? He's like cleaning his rifle.
You doing the moving like that? I just pictured Krunk from Emperor's New Groove when he's leaving with his own theme song.
I imagine that was Ben in the Woods.
When I kind of got coherent in the military and I was in basic training, I was really humming, like the dun 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 dun.
It's very hard to be stealthy while humming a theme
is a stealth mission,
song, by
Potter.
the way. All right, everyone, we're gonna have.
You're the sniper. I was infantry. We're kicking doors.
We're gonna crawl up there, hopefully catch him by surprise. Ready? Let's go. Dun,
But that's like even the music, just the inspirational kind of music of that whole thing would get me through a lot of stuff. And that's what I'm saying. Even though they're not real, fictional characters could be role models to certain people. Even if you take away certain aspects, like you're saying, which I'm really happy you hit that point because it doubles back to my whole discussion.
Right.
Going back to how I looked at Agent Venom, I don't sit there going, "Man, Flash Thompson's great. I really want to be just like Flash Thompson with my best friend Spider-Man."
I was a bully in high school.
To the guy I looked up
To the guy I secretly looked up to. I actually modeled my entire life like Flash.
But what I'm saying is, there are aspects we can take away from these fictional characters because a lot of times they are to an aspect kind of based on a certain person to an extent. You know, maybe they liked this Navy SEAL story and boom, that's Flash Thompson, or maybe, you know,
Actually, no, yeah, Flash Thompson's Agent Venom was based off of somebody was writing to Rick Remender.
Yeah, I remember vaguely how it came out, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know where these things originally came from. And maybe they were just made because, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a spider guy that could stick to walls and we could get in with the teens? But whatever, the stories that come out of that, you don't know where they've came from. You don't know what they're going through.
Right.
And the stories aren't, just because they're fictional, not necessarily true in some aspects. Somebody went through these.
The best stories are based off of something. Like X-Men was based off of, you know, racial tensions and that sort of thing. Like,
exactly.
You know, I mean, that's...
And it's also
the best stories are the ones you can look at and see the parallels.
Yes.
And another one is like people can change and still be a role model. Like you don't judge them based off of everything.
One
that
thing they
has
did
happened.
wrong, yeah.
Exactly. Like there are plenty of characters that have done bad things. But once again, if you look at the changes they did to their lives and the good things that they did, those are things that you can take away from.
Boom. Messaged.
Boom.
The more you know.
Boom.
All right, well, guys, hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can catch it on iTunes, Spotify, the Comicstorian YouTube channel on Saturdays, or on our Patreon and Twitch channels and YouTube membership. You pretty much have a lot of ways to get this show.
Yeah.
3 audio onlys, 3 ways to get video. Your call how you want to do it. We appreciate all your support. Dan, what is today's sponsor?
Our today's sponsor is our t-shirts over at Design by Humans. They are fantastic. You should check them out. We're also sponsored by GFUEL. I only thought of that because he grabbed the thing.
That's what I was going for next.
We are also sponsored by Doom! And we are also sponsored by Single She-Hulk Lawyer.
We should be sponsored by that.
And we should.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for your time today, and we'll see you next week right here at the Comicstorian channel with the next episode of Comics Experiment. Give me some interesting discussions down below. I'm kind of having fun with these more deeper discussions as opposed to just going, isn't Hulk strong?
How is hell for this person?
That was a great idea and concept.
It was. Thank you guys for watching.
See ya.